Now it should say you are alive. Hello. My encoder's being weird. How weird! Very, very weird. I'm gonna kind of just chill for a bit. How about we all just sit here, chill out, be of a be a service to people. You know? Excuse me. I'm taking inspiration from something, so give me a... Taking inspiration. I probably should have something open. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Also, I should probably change over the laundry. No, I just need my backpack for something. Have you done any homework this weekend? No, not yet. Want me to? Yes, please. I want you to do homework every day. She always says homework, she never turns it in. Okay, I'll do homework. Jesus. Oh wait, I was supposed to change my alarm. Damn it. Damn it. Should have just brought my laptop. Should have just brought over my laptop and just... I was supposed to change over the laundry. find stuff in there. I am back. I do apologize for that. I I forgot I had some things that I needed to turn over. Yeah, that's all I got. Sorry, my mom. It's my mom. Also, my mom was telling me about doing homework. Maybe I should. But you guys won't see because it's private stuff. This is private stuff. And it must be private. Though I do want to check my grades. Yes, I know, school stuff, blah blah blah. I mean, at least so my grades are slowly but surely going up, but not too much. That's not good. Also, my freaking online teacher's literally giving my teacher for my online course is not. It keeps bringing my grade down because I'm freaking behind on just about everything, which is great. That's great. That's great. It's just peachy. Ow. It's just peachy, you know? Just peachy. No, not many people are here. Actually, speaking of informal essay 5, my satire, it wouldn't matter. So, okay, so I have my English teacher, one of my English teachers, because I'm taking 2 English courses this trimester. Because yes, my school goes in trimesters. Shocker. But I had an issue running in with him. I think it was Friday. No, it's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. For some reason, I was writing my satire about how my study hall stresses me out, as in a joking way, but in more of a dark humor kind of way. But he took it literally, which, and I got pretty upset about it, but also angry because that's probably like the second time, or that's probably like, well, I hate when people butt into my life when I don't tell them. If I don't tell them and they butt into my life, I just can't. I just kind of can't. Because it's my business and I am entitled to have my own sort of, like, I get to I'm entitled to choose who I tell people, and that's what really pisses me off, is that when people try to forge into my life like that, like, or not forge, but try to butt into my life when I choose not to tell anyone. I just don't like it. I don't like when people do that, because then it's you know, because then you overwhelm me, because then I'm forced to tell you when I literally either I can't tell you or I choose not to. So it's one of those things that I just kind of hate about people these days. You know, I'm pretty open to telling people, you know, I'm open to tell people what's going on in my life, and I'm fine with that. But when I don't want to tell anyone, like stuff like that, I've actually had a hit that same issue sort of happen, sort of like that. Um, though it wasn't the fact that they were talking to me about, I mean, like, if it stresses you out, then you could just, told it was that's not the point of what it's supposed to be. You know, I don't like, and okay, I just, but I had an instance where me and an old friend, um, what happened was is that we were having some inner like battles with each other, silently though. But um, at the time I was doing an after school program with them, so it really made it a little harder. So uh, one of the one of the instructors got involved. One of the yeah, one of the instructors got involved and said that and I they were trying to tell me what was going on, when literally when I'm in a state of like overwhelm, I just can't say anything. I just can't. And they had said, well, it is a I said it's not a problem, and they said, well, it is a problem just by looking at you. It's like, you don't. I wasn't able to tell them that, you are pressuring me to spill something that I don't want to tell you. I get you're trying to help me, but that's not how I want you to help me. I will tell you when I want to, and when I know I have this under control, even though I probably didn't have it under control at the time, but that's because I was still in middle school. I'm at that stage where I'm trying to find myself, and I'm still trying to find myself. I'm still trying to find out, like, I'm trying to find my way around, try to discover new things and what I like to do. And, with my self-confidence not even existent, I have little to no self-confidence. I I can't I'm having a really really hard time trying to find myself, because I I just don't have a lot of confidence when it comes to a lot of things. And well, with that in mind, I just I just don't I didn't want to tell them, and I had it, and I felt that I had it under control. And when you pressure me like that, it's not you're not going to get anything out of me. I'm just going to shut you out. I, Even if you're trying to help, you're still I still feel like you're pressuring me to spill information, and you're violating my personal space, and my personal thoughts. It's like it's like when you, it's like when you know you have the key to something, and actually, it's like if you find like a box of valuables and you're trying to pry it open with sheer force. It's not gonna open. You know, it's ever not gonna open unless you have a key. And imagine the key being, you know, the way to me opening up. But if you force your way in, you're not gonna, all it's gonna do is just gonna stay locked. So, you know, you just can't force your way into my own mind. You can't force me to tell you something when I'm entitled to my own privacy. And I know myself more than anyone else can. Eh, more than anyone else knows. Even though people will say, you know, I know you, and I know how you act and all that. you can't. I mean, you can study my mannerisms and all that, but you only get the outside point of view than the point of view of me. And and everyone has this sort of like mannerisms that they have, but you don't get the bigger picture, you know. And I think a lot of um, people who think they know me is like super confident that they know me. Hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah. terribly sorry about that. I had some. My mom wanted me to do a couple things for her. Where was I? I know I talked about that I'm entitled to. Oh, I don't. I might start out somewhere where I already explained, but I don't. I kind of don't care. I kind of don't care. I'm a broken record anyway. But uh, how to start? Don't know. Let's see. How to start a. How to start. Hmm. Oh, something. Yeah. You don't know. You wouldn't know someone if like you just don't get the bigger picture. That's it. So you don't get the bigger picture that you could again you study someone about their mannerisms and all that. You could study them and you know make note of everything that they do. Make a hypothesis about who the person is and what their personality is. But the one thing you just can't really explain is how you can't explain entirely why or how you do it, like how and what causes you to make these sort of decisions. You don't have you don't have like history. I mean, they can tell you like a history of their life from when they were born and up to where they are now. You can document that, but you can't really have the more detailed, like you can't get a detail of what how the person acts, what they're exactly feeling, because you could say that someone was upset, but then there's another thing where they could have been angry at that situation. There's this there's lost information. There's information that an outside person cannot document, or can't put you can't piece them together. There's always something missing in there's always something missing about someone that you wouldn't understand. The only way you can understand something is if you were them, and you were in that moment with as them, and to see with their through their eyes of what happened, how it happened, why it happened. There's just this sort of like there's there's the missing pieces that really really make the story more understandable. And and people always do that. And with my past experience, like a few months ago, where I that that someone misunderstood, there was a big misunderstanding between me and someone else. You know, made me lose my friendship, and with them having their actions impact me in a very negative way. Even coming back to them and telling them that you hurt me, I felt attacked, didn't you just don't understand. I think, of course, my I still had negativity balled up, and I just exploded it, which didn't make the situation better. And I take full responsibility for that. I didn't make the situation better. And you know, and it's a good thing that when people know their mistakes and attempt to you know learn from them. You know, it 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 just makes you a better person. And I'm slowly but surely, trying to be a better person. But the problem is that I have a lot of other sort of roadblocks that make it so the roadblocks keep coming up, and I just don't immediately see them. So it's a constant process of having almost like history repeating itself on purpose in order for me to learn. And I still and I and um history does repeat itself. In my life, I've had plenty of um, times where I'm in the similar situation and I still act in a way that doesn't help the situation. But then there's other events where I finally get it and I try better. You know, that's why I've had you know, it you know, I've I've talked to one person and now talking with another person, I've known that I shouldn't give up on people so easily, and I try not to force things on people, because I've had that happen where I where someone was who needed help. I was trying to get them to seek help, but they just couldn't, and I ended up getting a bit aggressive about it. So having a person similar to them, trying trial and error, you know, it has worked. And they've, you know, it's like you can give a horse water, but you can't lead them to it. You can't make them drink. You say you can lead. What is it? I I was trying to make this. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, and I guess history has repeated itself because even though there's a person that I forced help on them, forced to get the force them to get help, I'm still doing it self-consciously, and I still do it for some reason. But I guess it's my own influence that when someone is getting worse with a situation, they kind of I just think that they need help, because you can't because if you don't get help, you're not going to improve. And with me, I've been trying to get more help, but it just doesn't seem to work, you know. And I've had a time where I just kind of dropped it. I dropped it, and I'm saying I accepted the fact that no one can help me, that nothing that has happened, or what people have told me, it doesn't work on me, because the fact that I just can't find joy anymore. I can't find permanent joy. That's what I'm trying to seek, is permanent joy, because I hate feeling like this. I hate feeling like I'm stuck somewhere. Like I'm falling into holes everywhere. Even if I get those points where I I'm happy, there's all I always I I guess my self-conscious gets a little cocky, and I fall into a hole. And then I have to find a way to climb myself out naturally, walk it off, and then I fall into another hole, It just kind of it's it's hard. And probably I'm not probably I might not get the help that I need, but there's always improvements, you know? You always find these improvements. But, I don't have personal advice like everyone else does. Jack Jack, Mark, and all the bigger bigger YouTubers have gone through so much. There's people who have gone through far worse than me, and they have came out through the other end. You know, maybe one day you know, I'll I'll come out that other end, and you know, finally see more light, much more light than I see now, where all the sort of torches in this cave of mine, I see them, but there's never that sunlight that I'm looking for. And of course, maybe I'm like this because I stay in the house. It's how I grew up. It's, it's how I grew up. Just stayed in the house. Well, I stay in my house most of the life, and the only time I ever get sunlight is if I'm ever outside. if I ever leave the house, but that's about it. My parents are not social people. You know, we're we're an entire family of people who stay inside all day. You know, we hardly get out. And the only time that we ever get out is if we're, you know, if we have something to do or someone invites us out. You know, kind of pulls us out of our little shell. But we're just not social people. And I've kind of accepted the fact that, that not that, you know, I would live like this. I've accepted it because it's kind of a thing where, you know, if your parents do it, then you will do it. So see, monkey do, in that kind of situation. So I've accepted my fact. I've accepted it, but I think that's why I have trouble socializing with people and why I feel more comfortable online, because I can perceive myself as someone different, you know. I love playing this game of pretend and play, be fake, try to be a better version of myself. And I will be open. I have done that before, you know. But I try to be more transparent, and I'm, doing sort of these like live streams. Even if I don't have a face cam, I'm still, trying to be transparent with you guys by showing emotion in my um in my videos. I'm trying to, show that, I'm not fully okay. I'm not always this sort of chipper person, and I wish I could be, be more chipper and, have more opportunities to do and show you guys that, I can do so much more than just sit in my room. But I just don't have that sort of opportunity. And I want to have more opportunities. You know, like for example, I was part of a server for the I've been a part of a server, Jacksepticeye community server, where there's a lot of people that I talk to, and I've made friends in them. I've met people like Ginger, who you've heard through the Discord discussion with Septiscape, Yanti, um, all of these people, all the people who I've who I've met through the server have been much better than the people who I have met outside, you know, outside my own house, out in the real world, you know. I've met so many good people, and I feel so loved here. There's so many people who, I mean, I will admit, I probably have found my echo chamber. Finding people who have the same interests as me and will agree on the same opinions. You know, I will admit I've been in echo chambers like that, where I can seek out people who have the same opinion as me. I don't usually intentionally seek them, I guess. I mean, I'm glad that people agree with me. I'm fully glad, and and you know I'm open to other suggestions and outside opinions, outside my own and see if I can, you know, kind of see their side and, try to make my own points, acknowledge that they are acknowledge their opinion, but try to peacefully say that I can see your opinion, but this is but you know will stick by my own opinion, and but yeah, I felt like I found my people, and and again there's science to back, like there's science to say, there's people telling that that today's world people are having ADD and depression, and they always lead it to the internet. you know, and there's sleep studies saying that, you know, that the blue light in screens are keeping us awake, and it's keeping our brain stimulated. But there's other things. There needs to be more research, and to sort of research the other side um, of the spectrum, where people don't believe this stuff. You know, even if you can back up information about it, you really can't get the whole story. You know, it's back to the conversation with that you can study someone, but you don't know the big picture. You know, but uh, but you just can't get the bigger picture, bigger picture. Uh, but it just, you know, I guess with most people, you know, like being here, it makes me happy. Being on the internet, it makes me happy because at least, you know, I I I'm not one to do face to face conversations. I mean, I'm even if I'm at a public school, I'm not that open. I'm not. I've you know I'm pretty open, but I'm not that open. Then I'm less open out there than here. You know, and you know, being in a small town where there's not a lot of people, and a lot of people here are just terrible. You find those flaws of people, and their sort of flaws are pretty bad. And even if they don't know their own flaws, not a it's still not a really good place to be. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy in small little town. You know, I'm just not. It's so it's just nothing goes on here. Nothing. Like, I mean, there's small things that, you know, like there's a dedication, like a there's like a whole week dedicated to our little city. Like a little carnival. There's a little carnival that comes into town just to celebrate, you know, celebrate our little city. There's, you know, there's a tree lighting in the middle of the town, middle of downtown. There's there's plenty of like other thing. There's plenty of things here. I mean, I went nothing entertainment wise other than our small little movie theater, but that's not the point. Okay, there's just nothing here. There's nothing here for me, and I want to be able to go somewhere where I can find more opportunities. I want to find a place where I can, you know, be find more people and try to find people. And with all the people here, I thought that I found who I've been looking for, and for years I've thought I found my people. But as we grew up from kids to almost adults, there's just, you know, you find you just more things pop up. You know, people change, and sometimes you got to accept the fact that, you know, they changed. But for me, the people who I have met freshman year or have known since middle school are not the people who I know now. And it's sad, you know. People and I've accepted that people have changed, but some people have changed for the worst. And I think that's where I'm standing with my friends, because, you know, there's one person who I knew since middle school. You know, I never got to connect with him for probably the first couple years of middle school, and you know, finally being able to be near him and talk to him and, you know, do stuff with him. You know, it it just seems that we never really got, after, you know, the small few times we've dated each other, it never really kicked off. And even with him sort of like um even after we dated, it just seems like he's always different after that. Like, it's almost like I have to date him in order to really find that person that I'm looking for, you know? Maybe, find the person that is a bit more bearable than who he is now. And I think at one time we actually had a tiny little argument, a small little argument of him changing, and I pointed out to him, it's like, and he was like, well, you got to accept this change. And, I accepted it, and I tried to show that I accepted it, and I'm way beyond him, but he just seemed to not notice. And I think that that's sort of like a mindset that I've had to, in order to, try to get him to notice me, is try to do something a bit more dramatic, try to exaggerate stuff. But he never seems to get that grip, and I don't know why I keep doing it. I just don't know why I keep doing it. I've been telling him Friday after, I had to get to the bus and all that. I was telling him that that he, that I, there's nothing here for me. I feel, no one cares. And, I get people, like, I tell these stories, and then, when I say no one cares, I have to keep telling them this is, no, I mean, I get that on here, online, on Discord, I know you guys care. I already know this, because you've shown it. Or at least you've attempted to show it, or tell me that you do care, and you give me these virtual hugs, and I know that you guys care. I have to keep telling them that I know you guys care, but it's the outside world that doesn't care. The people here in my small little town don't. I've told them that no one cares, and there's a reason why I haven't talked to anyone outside school, and I haven't talked to anyone who's in school outside of school. I've told them, and my whole friend crisis. But he did get the message that, because we don't talk, because when I said there's a reason why I don't talk to you guys, and he says, what did he say? I was telling this earlier. That because we don't talk to you, and I'm like, yeah, but there's more to there's more of the picture that you don't seem to pay attention to. You don't pay attention to the bigger picture. You're just seeing this sort of part that I've told multiple times, that no one at school never contacts me outside school. And I'm glad he got that, but I don't think he really gets the fact that, I don't think he's aware of what he's doing. Of course, he has this sort of monotone voice whenever we're talking. So most of the time, he doesn't show emotion. And, I understand his story about how, like, he's gone through so much. I even got even a bigger picture of what he went through. But you keep telling me these, and I just kind of toss them away. He says that he cares, but he really doesn't show that he cares. And I just don't know why he doesn't show that sort of emotion, or that care. All he does is, whenever I break down, it's like he doesn't even know what to do. And there's a person I talk to who is probably, who at this point is my best friend. Maybe just a friend because there's something happened between us, but that's not the point. He doesn't really know what to do, and his only way of helping out is trying to make people laugh. And see, I like a good laugh as much as the next person. And sometimes it helps, but then there's other people who kind of diss him for that. But he just doesn't seem like he doesn't know what to do. Like he like he lost all human decency. That, you know, no one, like no one ever gives me the sort of affection that I need. See, and it's just hugs. You know, my parents hug me. My mom hugs me more than my dad. But, you know, I don't have that sort of outside affection that I need. And even if I'm breaking down crying, he doesn't seem to, no one seems to really do it. Except one person, but I'm mostly talking about this guy. He just kind of stands there and just kind of wonders what to do. Like, I've had a time last year that, you know, me and him, we were talking after school, and I was going out to the bus and to, you know, go home. And I literally ended up crying, but he was sitting on his bike doing nothing. And if he ever comes here and, you know, so if he ever watches this video at all, I'd rather let him know, because I don't care at this point. I really don't. I don't care if he sees this. I I don't think there's ever a chance that he's ever gonna redeem my respect and redeem my own, like, affection anymore. But, you know, I think he's just clueless of what to do. Like what he should do. Like I just I don't get him, and I don't think he gets me how he gets me like he does now. Like he does, or what he used to know. I don't think he knows me the same as, you know, from back then. I'm probably like a whole different person with something, with the same thing, you know, scattered scattered out, you know. But I guess but he still doesn't know me. And I wish that he would make an effort to, you know, try and do something to, you know, try to, I don't know. But and he doesn't, and there's no way he's ever gonna uh, win me back. So I ended up going on a tangent when I was supposed to do homework. Oops. I think this really tells something. This really tells that, you know, I would rather do anything else but homework. I guess that kind of leads into a topic of like people never listen, like, or because that's another thing that I have a problem that people seem to have a problem with, is I guess I have this sort of problem that no one ever listens to me, even online. I've had that happen, that people interrupt me or they talk over me, and it doesn't help that I do it too. You know, of course I try not to, and I want to give people the respect that they need. You know, I don't want to be rude. Hi, Dad. What's up? Sorry about that. My dad was talking about some things. Ugh. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that I wanted to I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption 2 on the channel, but I haven't got to because I was gonna wait for my dad to finish up his game and eventually put it down, and let's say I've done everything in the game, so. But I ended up starting it, and now I'm around that point where I'm at his level. So, where was I? Um, oh yeah, interrupting. I just don't get why people do that. You know, I've actually had that point where I've actually snapped at someone. You know, I finally snapped and I said, and I finally kind of got a little aggressive saying that please do not interrupt me. When people interrupt me, I get really frustrated because I mean, you kind of just experienced it like a minute ago. When people interrupt me, you know, when I'm saying something, I forget what I was saying. Sometimes I shift my focus onto what they're saying, but then I end up forgetting what I was going to say. And if people keep doing that, I lose my entire train of thought. So I ended up snapping at someone because they were interrupting me. They interrupted me 3 times, and I just had about had it. And he apologized and said, you know, I have a habit of doing that, and you know, it's been a couple times, and I'm just like, well, con- you better control it because you're not you don't seem like you're improving. When I'm talking to someone, I'm talking to someone. You just can't, you know, start speaking. Also he has a issue with like butting in to things that is not his conversation. You know, even if we're like a couple feet away, he'll still be able to hear and he'll try to butt in. I've been trying to ignore him because because he's not part of the conversation. If you know, you can. I mean, there's some conversations that if you butt in, you're in this, you're sitting there. You're sitting in the group. But if you're like across the way or a little bit of a distance from the conversation, you can't just butt in. That's and I get, and there's people who influence that. You know, people who reinforce that behavior. You know, and see if people don't learn if you don't you don't try to correct their behavior. It's like a dog trying to break their bad habits. For example, for my dog, if he has a habit of stealing people's food, or he's not, and you're not gonna teach him to not do it if you don't punish him for it, or you don't you don't do something about it. And if you reinforce that behavior, you're not gonna you know he's not gonna learn. And my dog is old. Okay, he's like 6, 7 years old. He's a pretty old dog. Okay, and you can't teach. And with that sort of saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You just can't. You can't train a dog unless you train them early. And the same thing goes with humans. If you don't reinforce that sort of behavior before they, try to correct their behavior and try to, enforce good habits, they're going to end up going out in that world, and, you know, and they're not going to be able to live a life of, they're not going to be able to talk to people, or they're just not going to be a good person. And see, I get that people have their own ways of, being better, and they have ways of, they have, obviously everyone's going to have their own bad habits. I understand that. But, the more common bad habits, like interrupting and butting into conversations like that, you're just not gonna, you're just gonna create someone who is rude when talking to people, And I don't know why people do it. Why as in my generation and below, I've seen people in generations below me who have these bad habits of just like, even like elementary students, they're already starting to swear. And And it's the people around them that are not enforcing it, even if and the school doesn't do anything. I mean, if you swear in class, you get scolded by the teacher, but no one cares. None of not no people in the none of the high schoolers are ever gonna listen because it's all over the place, and I'm pretty much a victim of that. I mean, I've sworn in class, and I've gotten scolded at. And it slips out. But it's just these habits that no one like tries to scold people for them or tries to break those bad habits. And I don't know why people don't do that. It's crazy. And you're just raising a bunch of people, a bunch of smaller kids who don't know any better. You're enforcing, you're allowing these young kids to swear, and you're allowing kids who are barely out of school, and you're not teaching them well. And I'm probably being a hypocrite about it because I've done those things. I've I've been that bad child, and I've been stubborn. I know I am a stubborn person, and I be stubborn for a reason. But you know, just parents don't know any better, and parents don't know how to raise their children anymore. My parents probably don't even know how to raise me. I'm their first child, and you know, having my brother around, they don't seem like they really know how to parent sometimes. And see, everyone has their flaws, and people don't know how to do things. You're never gonna have an expert at everything. You can have an expert, but they're never always going to be an expert. People make mistakes, and I guess you know, putting from my standpoint of from my parents, seeing an outside source, an outside um, perspective on matters with my brother, I feel like really they don't really teach him the same things as me, and it just doesn't, you know, you just the see, my brother gets away with a lot of things, and back when I was that age, I barely got away with anything. But I don't know where I'm going with this, but you just can't break bad habits if you don't influence the breaking of them of bad habits. Sometimes I wish that people would be better. People wouldn't be such jerks about a lot of things, and I wish that people would be better. With mannerisms and interacting with people, but I think there's a big issue with internet that people don't know how to communicate through the internet or and face to face, and I can agree with that. See, I wouldn't agree with it back then, but but putting thought to it and actually having that idea in my mind, I believe that people don't know how to react because of social media, because it's just you're kind of blocked with this sort of like there's the barrier between you and a person online, even if you talk face to face, with them on one end of the line and then you on the other. Talking to people in real life is going to be pretty hard, and I could agree that people need to, be able to, have a chance to, you know, go out and interact with people, and have that sort of face to face experience. But then there's the people like my family and me who, who don't socialize that often. And, I've become this sort of antisocial person. And this is why I prefer social media and just being online more than being in face to face. Because I grew up with people who don't socialize. And, you know, and being in a place where there's hardly any people and that the majority of people are who they are, and people who, don't know how to socialize, and they just don't, you know, they have a lot of bad habits that we as human beings don't tolerate, we shouldn't tolerate. I always have my reason that I stay inside. I have my reason why I be on social media, because I have nowhere else to go. And I feel like, just being online is my safe place where I can meet people, just, be able to talk to people. And I'm very social when it comes to, being like, when talking to people. I'm very social. I I never shut up, Even this stream really proves that I can talk a lot. Even if you get me on a good subject, I'll talk for hours. But I can't always do that with people because some people don't know how to carry the conversation. And it gets kind of boring, because if I explain to you guys about something and you guys don't interact with me, I mean, I can talk all the time. I can talk the entire time. But having other people really helps. And even with this stream right now, as the stream is going, if you're watching this after the stream, you probably listening to me and agreeing that, yeah, I can understand your standpoint. I can see your reasoning, and I can agree with you, or you can disagree with me. That's fine. You can, yeah, and you can try to interact with me. You can try interacting with me all you want in the comments. I'm proud. I I I have been in the comments, and liking, favoriting people right on YouTube. Though there's not a lot of people who do it, but I still do it. I believe in this sort of like community, and I want to connect more with the community. I mean, for example, one of my mods, who I recruited just recently, Tim, but we call him Tying Back to Tim. He, I've talked to him outside YouTube. He's been on Discord for quite a while, and I tried talking to him, but I haven't talked to him very recently due to the fact that there was a lot of events going on, and I think I didn't actually tell about that event. I briefly skipped over it. Um, Let me explain, okay? So the server that I've mentioned, the JSC community server. I've talked to these people. I've talked to a lot of people, and interacted with a lot of people. I've met actually through, and this event that went on was anti-Septiceye related. So the entire server got corrupted, or slowly but surely was glitching out and getting corrupted by some unknown source, and the mods were involved with it. All of the well, not all of the mods, because I've heard there's 12, and then there's a lot of people. There's a lot of mods that I haven't met, and I never knew any of the mods. Only 2 mods, Ginger and Yanti, and Camilla, Mr. Camilla. Those are the 3 mods that I have met, and I've talked to almost I wouldn't say one-on-one, but I've talked to them, had conversations with them. So I only know 3 of the mods. So since more of the mods, there was other mods that they were there, and and with them participating in this event, I was able to, get to know. I was able to meet a couple of them, Whoosh and Pixie. I was able to talk to both of them one on one without this sort of without the event going on. I mean, with the event going on, but without them being all that. So I was actually gone and more involved in the sort of server, and a lot of people were involved with it too, especially some of my friends. They were very involved with it. And since it was anti-related, the server started glitching out, the mods were acting weird, saying that they don't see these glitches, they don't know what they're talking about. It got very, very real. Very real. Like, real to the point where they actually involved, like, fake blood and all that. It was pretty scary. They had this sort of wall with all the mods on it, and then they had some of the members, which eventually it ended up that the wall had hardly anything to do with the story other than to show that Auntie knows that we're here. That he knows that we're listening. He knows that we're just here in general, being us. So I was able to get to know a couple of the mods. I haven't been able to talk to those two mods that I've met, but it was nice to be able to have a conversation with them, especially Whoosh and Pixie, because I love when there's not a lot of people in voice chat, due to the fact that, with more people there's more noise, and then other people, there's just a lot of people who want to interact with other people, and it just gets messy. It just gets really messy, and I can understand that. People want to interact with a lot of people, and I understand that. So this event just went on for about a week. It started a week before Halloween, or more, maybe even 2 weeks before. But they had planned most of it, but a lot of it was improv, and props to them for doing this event. I actually had fun, even though I was freaking out and panicking because this was all going on. It got so real, but I knew it was fake. So but it was fun. I was able to talk to people, be a part of something, even though the last couple days I wasn't able to be a part of it, and I was sad about that. But I still kept going. I still was involved with it when I really had a lot of time with it. I had fun. But, so yeah, it ended up that the server got so corrupted, Auntie actually joined in. People were panicking, we were asking questions and trying to reason with him. So then, we were just trying to reason with him and make sure that he can have what he wants, but then have what we want. And of course, he's being the little good bitch himself, and being very uncooperative. But that's Auntie for you. So it was nice to be a part of something, and I even went to them and said that I actually talked to them out of character, saying that I would love to do this event again. I want to do big server-wide events because I want to have more opportunities. But having these sort of opportunities just seems like that, because once I get my opportunity, then people will ask for those opportunities too. And I don't blame them. I mean, everyone wants to be a part of this, and even the mod said about this event, everyone was involved. There's a lot of people were involved with this, and they respected that everyone was a part of it. Even if they didn't do a whole lot, it was still you're still part of it, either interacting with the mods themselves or interacting with other people who are in the same boat. It was fun. I had fun. A lot of people had fun. But it was just fun. And yeah, but it really helped me connect with a lot of other people besides just, you know, just them. I had there were people who were, people who were just coming to the server and they were in the middle of all this chaos, and then there were, you know, there were old people who were making the chaos. It was just fun. And I want to have more opportunities to do more stuff like this because of the lack of opportunities I have here. I want to do as much as I can, and then say that I've done it. I've been a part of a big project. I've been a part of like a huge thing. I want to be able to tell people that I've had the time of my life and I've been a part of something. Because and I never get those opportunities to say that, I've done something really big. I've always had these small little projects, and it just doesn't. I don't know. I think with a lot of this, there's not a lot of opportunities that I can join in without seeming like, without making it, without other people pointing that out. And good example is like a really good example of that is asking, if you don't know, I was actually noticed by Jack a few times over the course of the year. Lit bit by bit, and I've had Jack notice me 5 times. That's like an exact number. And having to say that I've been noticed by Jack that many times, it really makes me happy that I'm at least special in some way. But then there's other people who have been noticed by you know bigger YouTubers like that, and or even know them, you know or like have them have like big people follow them. I'm obviously proud of doing that, of them getting that chance. And I wouldn't. I mean, I'm jealous. I'm somewhat jealous, but I still wouldn't like. I still don't. I still. I. Even though I'm jealous, I'm still happy for them. I'm still happy that they're doing this kind of stuff. That they get this opportunity to do this. But I. Hmm. But I wish I can more opportunities. I really want to have more opportunities. Hmm. But I think that I said what I wanted to say. I did see someone pop in for a minute or two, and leave. Um, but still, if you're watching this after the stream, thank you for clicking on the video and clicking that like button if you did. Um, I do appreciate all your support, and I will do more stuff. Maybe next time if I have sort of time to do it. You know, I'll uh, I'll play. I play a game. Try to entertain all of you. I will play Broken Age. I will play it again. If you didn't hear what my plan was, I didn't want Halloween Spooktober to ruin it. I didn't want to ruin the moment. You know, for a, a game that's potentially like more for the heart than for that, so I didn't want Halloween to ruin that sort of that the mood of the story. So I will play it, but thank you guys so much if you're watching this right now after the stream. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this stream, and yeah. But thank you guys, and do the outro, Wolf. Do the outro. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, slap that like button with your paws or your tail, and subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I will see you wolves later. Bye. Goodbye. Have fun.